Hi everybody, I wanted to summarize some of the notes from today and do a walkthrough of some parts of the first two problems. So this is code that we had last time where we define three integers, we add them, we multiply them, we find the average, and then we display some stuff about them. So the big idea today was how could we ask the user to type a number instead of having to type it ourselves here in the program? So there were kind of four parts to this. So the first part is creating a scanner object. You do that the same way that you create any variable. So you know the pattern where you have like a data type and a variable name. So here my name is D and I know that it holds integers, or I type string and it's name. So the name is name and it holds text. So it's the same pattern where the first word I type is called the data type, and the second word I type is the variable name. So I'm going to name it keyboard, but what's inside keyboard is not an int, it's not text, it's a special kind of software object called a scanner. Scanner isn't usable by default. You have to tell the computer that you want to bring in the code for the scanner object so that your program can use it. So the way you do that is you hover over the red scanner and then you can say import class, and we're importing it from java.util. So what that does is that inserts a line of code way up here at the very top that says import java.util.scanner. If you want to, you could just type that yourself, but it's easier to let IntelliJ create it for you. So I actually want to put something inside the variable, so I'll type equals new scanner, and that's a way to create a new scanner object. And then system.in is what we're scanning, and this just means the keyboard. So altogether, we're saying we have a variable called keyboard, and it's going to read things from the keyboard. All right, so the second part is we have to display the question that we want the user to answer. So that's going to be with a print statement. So we could say like type a number. And actually, I'm going to use a print statement rather than print line so that they're typing it on the same line. And then instead of saying a equals 3, I want to do something like get user input. Remember that an equals sign means take what's on the right and save it inside the variable on the left. So here I want to get the user input, and whatever they type, I want to save that inside A. So the way you do it is you have the name of your scanner object. So I called mine keyboard, so this would be keyboard down here. And then I'll say next line with a semicolon. What's going to happen, oops, not next line, sorry. I want an integer, so I would say next int. We'll do next line in a second. So if I chose to call my keyboard something else, if I called my keyboard input, then this would be in red. It would say it doesn't know what keyboard is. So one thing that you have to check is that the variable that holds your scanner is the same variable that you're asking to do these commands for you, the next int command or any of the other commands. Another thing to double check is that the data type that you're asking for, so here I'm asking for the next int, make sure that matches the data type for the variable that you're saving inside of. So if I'd said, for example, let's delete this. If I'd said string A, you'll see that that's now highlighted in red because this means that the A variable can only hold text, but here I'm trying to put an integer inside it. So that's the other thing that you have to double check to make sure they match. All right, so I'm now asking them to type a number. It'll pause. Oh, here, let me just show you what it looks like when it runs. Instead of telling you, let's show you. So I run it. You see it says type a number. So I'm going to type the number 100. And then it says 100 plus 10 plus 3 is 113. So the 10 and the 3 are coming from here. But the 100 came from what I typed as the answer to the question. And it got saved into A. And then it got added in the sum there. Okay, so if I want to ask two more questions, I don't need to do this line again. You only need to create your scanner one time. But I do want to do these two lines again, twice more. Except I don't want to save into the variable A every single time. I want to save into B and then C. So you could keep the question the same, or you could say type another number, type the last number. But you can see the pattern here. You ask the question, you get the input, and you save it into a variable. So let's watch it, see what it looks like. So type a number, 99, 1002, 345. And there you go. So you've made like a little tiny calculator. So problem 2 asks you not just to get integers, but to get other types of input as well. So let's write a program where I give you an example of how you get all 3 different kinds of data type as input from the user. All right, so first I'm going to ask for an integer. So I'm going to say int num equals input dot next int. So again, input is the variable that's holding my scanner. So you could call yours something different, and then you just have whatever you called yours here. And next int means that whatever they type, I'm going to get an int. This by itself would be kind of weird. If I ran it, the program would just sit there doing nothing because I didn't actually display a question for the user. So I'm going to say type an integer. I'm going to make it, yeah, sure, that's fine. Okay, what if you want to get text? So I'm going to ask a question. Type a description. And then here, I'm going to call it string, because if I want text, I need to save it into a text variable. So I'll call this description. And then I'll say input, because you always have to start with the name of the scanner, and then dot next line. So next int gives you an int, next line gives you text, and it has to be saved inside a text variable. So the last one, type a price. The next one's going to be a number with decimals, so that would be double. And again, I'll do the same thing, input dot next double. So this will display the question, and then this returns a number with decimals that the user would type. So finally, I'm going to put all of these things together in a sentence. All right, so here's my print statement. Would you like to buy a certain number of a description puppies for price? So you'll see what this looks like when we run it. All right, type an integer, 37. Let's type a description. Uh-oh. Okay, I forgot to warn you about one thing that happens with scanner. So if you read an int and then you hit enter, it doesn't actually read the enter key that you typed. And so then when you ask for the next line, that's when it reads the enter key that you actually typed up here. And so it looks like it just skips this question. So an easy way around this problem is whenever you ask for an int, just put in input.nextLine right afterwards that reads the enter that you type at the end of your int and then throws it away. When I say throws it away, I just mean I'm not saving it into a variable here. Okay, let's run it one more time. Oh, let's run it one more time. All right, so type an integer. I'm going to type 37. Type a description, ultra fancy. Type a price, $3,459.99. So would you like to buy 37 ultra fancy puppies for $3,459.99? So all this has done is it's taken the things that the user typed and put them together into a sentence. And that's very similar to the kind of thing that you're going to do in question 2. So I hope this was helpful.